Five, four, three.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my head or life mate, Oh My Feelings. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where I ask you and we ask you to watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we break it down and we swing it all around. Today, we continue our spoopy month with some fun action, monsters, and craziness. Critters from 1986. And to talk about this great, funny, scary, well, not so scary movie is Devil Made Me Do It. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
And Tom from Midnight's Edge. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing okay, but I finally get to meet the Devil Made Me Do It. King Memer, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you, man.
So Devil, what's going on with you? What's happening with you?
Oh, not much. Just started up a new show, Beelzebub, and yeah, it's been going really good, really fun.
Abandoning the Beelzebub?
Yeah, Beelzebub on Beelzebub.
I've seen the picture. Who did the Simpsons inspired memers?
The thumbnail? Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that one. Yeah,
That's
I
pretty cool.
I thought of Moe's Bar. Just okay, I'll do it.
So what's been up with you, Tom? What's you been doing lately?
Oh, just the typical thing. Enjoying the season. Tis the season of scurry movies, which I love. So yeah, I can't wait to discuss some critters with you guys.
Yeah, you've been doing some good old fashioned Halloween marathons and Friday the 13th marathons, all that stuff, or you're just waiting for that last week?
I did watch a couple of the Fridays. I've done a few horror films already. I did all the Pet Cemetery movies last week because that prequel came out, and yeah, I just been talking and watching a lot of horror films and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I watched this movie today, but I also watched another movie that I've never watched before because it never interests me. It's called Jason X. Jason in space.
It's funny about that
Oh,
film.
gosh.
That was the first film I ever downloaded off the interwebs because it leaked early online.
Oh, that's right.
So I
Yeah.
saw an early cut of that. Yeah.
Really? Well, it let's just say this. I don't know of anybody else. To me, it is one of the greatest coincidences in the world because there are two kind of female leads in it, which is Lexa Doig and Lisa Ryder, and both of them at the time were on Andromeda. And guess what? Both played kind of a role reversal where Lisa Ryder was the human and Lexa Doig was this sort of AI android. And in Jason X, they played the exact opposite. But if you didn't watch Andromeda, you never ever know about it. Anyway, Critters 1986. Oh, my feelings. How many times have you watched it just this week?
Just twice, especially just the second one was just a run through to make sure I got everything lined up for scene structure and talking about specific scenes.
Cool. Devil, how many times have you managed to watch it this week?
I watched it once this week. I think altogether I've seen it about 3 times altogether. So
All right, cool. And Tom has seen it numerous times, so he knows everything by heart. So we'll jump in straight into our first segment of the night. It's called Behind the Screens.
Action, take 2.
Well, was it Critters 1, 2, or 3?
That looks like 3.
I didn't even get a chance to see it. It went so fast.
Okay.
It looks like 3 because the eyes are really big.
yeah.
I gave you guys the cheat sheet before the show. Dang it. See it again. Let me see it again. I'll tell you.
All right. Behind the Screens is where we turn to All My Feelings and we get the lowdown on everything behind the scenes, behind the screens, production stuff. Take it away, dude.
Okay, well, again, this film didn't do very well for itself, as it was still "quote unquote" New Line Cinema's answer to Gremlins, which that's categorically false. But $3 million budget overall, $13.2 million gross. So
Actually did very well, I was going to say.
it got a good return on investment, but for the film at its time, they were expecting it to be, again, the answer to Gremlins, where they were expecting Gremlins money. And
they expected like 40, 50 and got like 13.
Where did you get this from? Because I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to Bob Shea about this. Like, this was their big hit besides Freddy at the time. Like, that's why Critters 2 went like into production like instantly.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Well, it did go into production because it still made enough money for it to garner a sequel. Off
It was
the rip.
huge hit on video. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh
you
yeah.
there.
Oh no. On the home box office, it was gigantic. And I'm not talking about HBO. I'm talking about actual, VHS. But
somebody left me a message because I put up a poll on. I use the community tab. For God knows what, but I put up a poll. What's your favorite movie from horror movie from 1986? And Critters was on that list. I got a comment on that poll, and it was like, "Hi, I worked at a video store, and this rental was always out during the Halloween season."
Yeah.
So that was.
I gotta tell you, I went back to see what the picture was. I can't believe the image you used. That was from that crappy TV or streaming series.
Oh, was that the one they did that eventually went on
Yes.
Shudder, Tom?
Yes.
I'll tell you why I used that thumbnail. It's the only thumbnail that was sort of that painted oil painting feel to a thumbnail. Because
your thumbnail's fine. Your thumbnail's from the first movie. I'm talking about the behind the screens thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, to be more clear. That is from that stupid, streaming show. My bad.
Okay. It was the
one where they used a Matrix reference in 2021?
Yes.
Come on.
It's the only time where I had the most critters in one shot where it's a little bit lit, so it won't be dark. So, pardon my French. Anyway, feelings. Go ahead.
Yes.
Please continue.
Originally, the original screenplay was written by Dominic Muir, But he was friends with Stephen Herek, and he had shown the screenplay to Stephen Herek. Stephen Herek and him worked together on adapting it into a script. Then Herek went and sold it to, was it Show Pictures or Show Films, because he previously worked with them, and Show was a subsidiary of New Line Cinema at the time. Correct me if I'm
You're kind
wrong.
of jumping over a few things there, but yes, you're mostly right. Like,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be pointed out that Dominic wrote this when he was 19 years old.
Yeah, and this was
And
again years and years and years before Gremlins.
Gremlins,
So,
yeah, and the script actually went through very subtle, if not any, changes when they changed it. And Roger Corman was actually going to make this movie for the longest time, and Bob Shaye
Yes.
stole it from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you pretty much got it there. Like, basically, just the Corman bit was missed because, for those who don't know, the guy who plays Charlie in this,
Don Opper, which we're gonna talk
Don
about.
Opper. Yeah. Okay. So I'll let you go ahead. Never mind. I was gonna say, because you probably have Android in there already. So yeah, that's kind of
yeah. Well,
to,
I was gonna
to
talk
Corman's relationship with them, and then Bob's like, "Well, I want to make that movie," and he gave him $3 million instead of, I think, the $500,000 or whatever it was that Corman was going to give him.
Yeah. But again, also the role of Charlie was specifically written for Don Opper, because he was a friend of Muir and Herrick, and also several of the producers as well. And also, you were gonna, Tom, the scenes from Android, Don Opper's film is used for the bounty hunters, like, educational film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is Android is a movie I have been trying to find for a while. I saw like a few clips of it. I've never actually seen the whole movie. It is a tough movie to find. I'm not sure if it's ever been released on DVD or anything. So I've been looking for it for a while, but yeah.
Tom, DM me on Discord later. I'll get you set up.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's not a good film by any stretch of the imagination, but
Oh no, but the history of it is it's kind of has like a Corman-esque thing to it, because
yeah.
he would constantly be like, well, if we can reuse something, we will. And he put a challenge out there to any of the people that worked at New World at the time. He said, if anybody can come up with a story idea that works for the sets we have built for, I don't remember what movie it was, then you can shoot it. And there's one. Their idea did with Android. So yeah, that's why it happened. It was just kind of it's a challenge kind of thing more than it was a story. But Critters was something that Dominic had, and you're right, Stephen and him had made this deal together that they flipped a coin, I think, actually is what it was.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they literally flipped a coin on who was going to direct the movie.
Because it was like they were going to do this thing where they were going to direct and write all the time together, and one would direct after the other, just starting with just to happen to be a flip of the coin that Herrick won this time out. Yeah.
Yep. And then so the just as a side note, what's one of the funniest things, it's a callback to Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Meph.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the character Joseph Lombardi, or Joe Lombardi, in Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
No.
He was the first guy that they found that was in the cocoon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And he was also supposed to be the character that was in the prologue, the guy who drove off the road.
The guy who drove off a cliff. Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually an homage. That was an homage to the consultant that they brought on during the barn, the explosion scene. So the Kyoto brothers and Chuck Stewart brought on Joseph Lombardi as a consultant during that, in order to get the prop works right for the primers on the charge, to make sure the house exploded in the correct way.
Oh, nice.
So Joe Lombardi was their homage to their own film.
Yep. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Kyotos worked on all 4 of the Critters films. Yeah.
Yep.
And they actually technically designed them, but yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Oh, their design's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of everything. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Well, the Critters were designed partially because they were just given one direction. The Kyoto brothers were told, create a hairball with teeth. That's what they were told. But the Kyoto brothers were big fans of the Looney Tunes. So they based the primary design off of the Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Speaking of the critters themselves, Corey Burton, who did kind of the voices for all of the critters,
Yeah.
He based their language off of a bit of a mix between French and Japanese gibberish and some actual French words, but without being able to utilize your mouth correctly. So how the critters are all teeth. So like and one thing when he would say to eat, mange, he's like ouch.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just fun stuff. The town of Grover's Bend is actually
There's 2 Toms of Midnight's Edge? Oh, that's a sketch from the Kyoto Brothers.
yep.
It's pretty fucking cool.
And you get to see some of them walking in certain shots before.
Yeah, but some of them actually look like they have a hand stuffed down their
Some of them are fully animatronic and some are not. Yeah, which there's a big difference between the two of those.
That's
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah,
earlier
that's good.
when they thought about having him on 4 legs.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool. Please continue.
But what with Grover's Bend, that's actually a tie-in or a pseudo homage to Grover's Mill.
Which is the Orson Welles'
War of the Worlds.
Skit, right? The just the radio skit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrence Mann's Power of the Night
Mhm.
was actually written by him in under an hour.
No shit.
Yes.
It
And
kind of sounded like every other band in 1986.
Yes.
Well, that's what they were kind of trying to emulate. Yeah.
Emulate, yeah. What was so funny is they were trying to get Billy Idol to play Johnny Steele.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they were trying to get Billy Idol to actually do both.
Play the part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It would have actually been really cool.
Yeah.
But
It's weird. It's
Interesting.
the 4th movie that I've went into like research for that Billy Idol was supposed to be in and was not. Literally, I looked at the Life Force kind of behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
Billy Idol was supposed to be one of the vampires as well. Like, damn.
Is
I
it?
think they all figured out he's not really an actor.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I
is it
think
one
he
of
was-
those things?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Devil.
Was it one of those things where like he just was really bad about like he flaked on him, or did they just couldn't meet his price type thing?
In Life Force, they literally asked him. He said yes, and then his manager called them and said, "Well, dude, he's on tour for the next 4 months, so
it's
no." And
Not
it's a
gonna
shame
work out.
too because
Yeah.
they filmed everything in the UK, which is where Billy Idol is based from. So
Yeah.
But what's great too is the fact that Terrence Mann is only really credited in the film as Johnny Steele, because in the original cut, I'm not sure if they changed this. Tom, you correct me if I'm wrong on this. In the home version, the VHS or DVDs later, that still only has Terrence Mann listed as Johnny Steele, and the 2 bounty hunters are actually not listed in the credits. Correct?
I don't think they are in the original script. They weren't given names, I think, until the
so.
sequel, even though
Yeah.
I think, trying to remember if in the original script they have names or not.
no,
But then we don't find them out until the sequel, though.
In
Yeah.
the sequel, they're named as Ugg and Lass.
Hug and Lee.
No, Ugg and Lee. Get it? Ugly.
Glee.
Ha ha ha
Yeah.
ha.
Yeah, it's pretty kind of, yeah. But yeah, no, what's funny is because Terrence wasn't a musician, but he did. Can't remember the friend of his that he knew from a band, and they went and they wrote the song and recorded it and all that business, like you said. But he was actually a Broadway actor.
Oh yeah.
He was in the long running Cats at that time. And I know
Yeah.
now it's kind of a joke, but people need to remember how huge that show was back then. For him to go from that to this was kind of a nice catch for them, because he played Rum Tum Tugger in the
Tugger. Well, he was
the show,
the
yeah.
original Rum Tum Tugger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
like the original Cats.
So this was like his first big movie role, but he was brilliant in it, perfect in it, and I love his mannerisms, the way he just kind of carries himself. You buy it that he's this alien, but yet he means business at the same time, and he's not stupid. He doesn't play it in a Yeah, he's a fish out of water, but he doesn't play it in that goofy kind of laugh way. I don't know how to describe it, but he's got one mission and that's it.
Well, and what we're going to talk about it later is I love how the way the bounty hunters carry themselves. They're more. I always get the Terminator vibes from the bounty hunters
Yeah.
than you would from any like fish out of water alien story, like you said, Tom. Because typically with a film like this, with how kind of wacky it is, you're assuming that there's going to be some kind of comedic bits where, oh, there's a miscommunication where the bounty hunters get something wrong because, oh, they're silly aliens. No, they're just kind of assholes most of the time.
Which is kind of funny because you can definitely see Lilo and Stitch is like plays on this real big with the escaped creature and him being hunted by the two people, but the two the doctor and the little space guy with one eye in Lilo and Stitch, obviously they do play on those real bad throughout the whole thing. They're trying to act like they're humans.
Yeah,
It's very.
it is. Well, Stitch kind of looks like a critter with
Critter in a way, yeah,
like a critter and a koala bear had a baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing is like
chlamydia shit. Yeah.
And Ugg is just so straightforward, right? It's the other guy who's kind of more of the dick. Lee is always kind of more of the dick.
Yeah.
Anything else? Because I've got a few more notes here myself.
Yeah. What many different items were used to create the original Critter's fur on the actual full puppets. One of the most interesting items were male merkins.
Oh, male merkins? Mine says female merkins.
They were mostly male merkins.
From a store in California that says nice.
It was nice and naughty. It was basically it's a sex shop, yeah.
And they had like one or two hero ones that used, I think, yak fur. If I remember right.
And the rest were mostly coarse moose fur.
I was gonna say the big one. I think they had to use moose fur for. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Because there's this big, huge one in the movie that's basically a dude in a costume. Yeah.
Which they hated, by the way.
It looks like trash. That's why it's barely in the movie.
Yeah, everyone hated it. And the poor actor having to be in that.
Well, you can see a picture of it in our interview with Robert Shea we did a Critters retrospective as well. It might even have popped up in there.
I'll check it out. I might even link it in the description later.
Yeah. One of the other big ones is it has to be the entire bit about subtitles. Subtitles were a very, very poor point. Because originally, the main producers and the head of Newland at the time did not want any subtitles.
Yeah, Bob didn't
whatsoever.
want any subtitles.
No. Until there was a screening where they had the subtitle of where he goes, they have weapons, so what? Boom. Fuck.
Yeah, it's because they actually paid to have the opticals done for it, and Bob saw it, laughed so hard, and he wanted more.
Yeah, and the test audience loved it so much. It's like, we're gonna have the Critters just have them have their own language, full subtitles, everything.
Nice, and it was my favorite bit in the movie.
That still is probably one of the best bits in the entire film. It's like, they have weapons, so what? Boom, fuck.
That's it for you, because I've got one more.
I've got a whole bunch of other stuff, but it's all based off scenes.
Based off scenes. So the one thing that is not based off scenes, well, maybe not. It's the numerous connections to E.T.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to talk about that during when they actually show him the critter eating the ET doll.
I'll just mention it and we'll move on. One, Dee Williams, the mom, is the same mom as ET.
Dee Wallace?
Yes. No.
Dee Wallace. Yeah.
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 Like you said, Dee Williams.
Dee Williams.
Billy Dee Williams and Dee Wallace.
Dee Williams sends mustache, but with the Colt 45.
Who was actually in this one, she was Dee Wallace Stone because she was actually married at the time to her co-star from Cujo.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a weird marriage. And then you found out later how much of a
she's the mom in E.T. Yeah. There's an E.T. poster, there's an E.T. puppet, and there's a moment there where the guy who plays Brad, Scott Grimes.
Yeah.
He tries to fake the thermometer bit, Now in E.T. it worked. In this one, it didn't. So she learned. That's my tie-ins that I saw. Anyway, cool. Awesome. Let's just begin with a break-in. With a break-in. Hold. Oh, God damn it. Oh, there we go. Of course I didn't share my screen. Why the fuck not? So, this starts with the prison break. So the 10/8 critters or krites are escaping the colony prison asteroid.
They had to kill 2. They were eating everything in sight.
Right. Yep.
Of course, and they escape. And honestly, to me, the obviously Warden / Darth
Squid
Vader
Man
motherfucker, because he looked
looks like something out of Jabba's palace more so.
exactly.
Yeah. When you see him on his face, but here with the silhouette, it does look like Darth. I mean,
Exactly.
it has the helmet.
And then he looks like a
silhouette.
fat version of the dude from Jabba's castle. That's all like,
Yeah,
hey, Jabba, no bother.
exactly. He looks like one of those guys.
I can't remember his name, Bib Fortuna or whatever fuck his name is.
Oh, Bit Fortuna. That's
Yeah, yeah.
So the critters, we see this critters escape, and of course they call in the bounty hunters, shape shifting bounty.
They took a
hunters.
fast ship.
It took a really fast ship.
They took the fastest ship in the fleet. Jerks.
Why did they mention that? I don't know.
Because that means that they got to hurry. They're gonna get these guys are in a hurry.
And then of course we get a little bit of music, subtitles, all that stuff, and we get introduced to the family where we see
the Rockwell, Kansas
mom
farm.
We kind of make it's I think it's the Brown family, but
Yep. The
Yes.
Browns. Yep.
we get to see the mom interact with the kitchen.
Well, this is where the production design needs to be mentioned here, because these guys, I just said, like, they did a great job of this Rockwell kind of esque feel to Middle America, Kansas.
Very much
Like,
so. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job with the look of the place, the costuming. The family cast is great, and which is funny because the chick who plays April here, Nadine Vandervelde, she was late. Yeah, she went on to be in Munchies as well, which was basically a Gremlins and Critters ripoff.
It only would have been better if she had also been previously in Ghoulies, just to get the trifecta.
just to get the trifecta.
So we get to get introduced to both the boy and the girl, and of course they're always fighting, setting up the sort of like middle America, Midwestern family out in the middle of sort of nowhere in this small little town in Kansas. By the way, their house is huge. It is absolutely insanely huge. They go about their day. The mom calls the dad through the ventilation shaft to come and eat dinner.
Yeah.
He picks up the preserves, but he also drinks.
Yes. Can I also just say this? Come on. This man has, if not, he's going to have type 2 diabetes within the year.
Well, what he's doing, he's drinking out of a jar. That's what
mason jar
grandpas used to do.
It's coffee, but he's putting just
honey,
about half a cup of honey in it.
So all in all, this is like your typical 80s regular family, even 70s, I guess.
Oh, I could have fit all the way back to the 50s. That's what I mean. 50s, is they did a brilliant
very
job.
Norman Rockwell, yeah.
Yes, so exactly.
It's a full-on depiction, and again, they're talking about the oddity of this whole thing is so they mention I lost it. It's Charlie.
Charlie, yes.
Charlie, yeah.
Charlie, the drunken Charlie, and so we get
Charlie, who is our tie-in to basically the rest of the Critters universe.
Oh, and there's Lynn Shay
series.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and Lynn,
the sister of Robert Shay. Yes,
yeah,
which is so great. Is that there's two like horror legends that are in this film.
I love
And they're-
her character
and
in
they're
this
both
movie.
queens. Yeah.
You got Sally, who's this like
Sally-
she's hung up on all these like conspiracy theories in the National Enquirer stuff and everything
Did
like
you
that.
hear about? According to this, Don Travolta was a waitress in Florida.
Little did we know
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
how close to reality she was. No,
Yeah.
then you
anyway,
got Charlie here, who his whole thing is, he's the town drunk. He's basically
was
like,
she reading the National Enquirer or
it
not?
was one of those, it was like weekly news
It's
or it was
a weekly rag like that. Yeah.
whatever they were. Yeah, at the
I
time,
thought
the
so.
Bat Boys on the
Nice.
cover or whatever, who knows. An alien impregnated me, I think, or something like that. It says on
Yeah.
the cover.
Yeah. So we get introduced to Charlie. We get introduced a little bit about to get a feel of this town. The sheriff, the secretary of the sheriff.
What I love about Charlie is he's
all that
basically that character from Andy Griffith. I can't remember his name. The one that they would always let him come in and out of the
Oh yeah.
take all the time.
The town drunk. I can't
town
remember his
drunk.
name.
I just forgot his name and I can't think of it.
Yeah, but to me, he's not just the town drunk. He's sort of like the imbecile of the town. He's also the conspiracy nut.
Well, you get a little bit of insight into who he was
Yeah,
in
guy
the
who
script.
got abducted, but after the abduction, he's sort of like
Yeah, because before that, he says I was a prospect. What he means is he was going to be a pitcher. So he was being looked at by MLB and in the farm league. And after he had this incident that he claims he was abducted by aliens, he has gone nuts ever since. And then like everybody in town treats him like he's batshit crazy. And Otis, thank you, E. Clay. Yes.
Otis,
So
yeah.
basically he's like the town Otis now, where nobody takes him seriously. The cops just let him sleep it off all the time. He obviously lost his license because he's riding around on a bike. His only job now is working for the Browns out on the farm, like just tinkering around and stuff. Yeah.
And
Which I find, I love it too. One of the best scenes, just showing Charlie off the bat when he keeps going, I can hear the voices through my teeth. Can you hear that? And Harv looks over like, yeah, it's the radio, Charlie.
Come on, lover, pick it up.
Meanwhile, we
This
get
is Harv.
sort of back and forth, going back to the bounty hunters, trying to figure out how to be human lookalike. They get into this.
Nothing likes me.
Yeah.
Johnny,
That's Lee, yeah.
Johnny
Find something.
Steele. I couldn't find
Johnny Steele. Ah,
I couldn't find
yes.
the
Power of the night.
picture of the
Yeah, I
angel.
paid $100 for that song. No shit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because it's not on the CD. For some reason, when they transferred the soundtrack to CD, they left that song off. So I had to track down an LP version of it, and it was still in the plastic, so it cost me like $100 with shipping altogether. It was insane. Well, it's very limited. Like good luck finding. They're very hard to find
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
on LP.
One of the stuff that I put down aside in my notes is to ask, especially you, if it's on the soundtrack, because
Only on the LP, yeah.
I couldn't find it on the official soundtrack. It's not.
I
on
have
the
a good
soundtrack.
version of it, but
Really?
I took the virgin vinyl. I opened it up, and I ripped it to CD or to digital, so I'd never have to play the record again.
What you think is such an odd thing, because this is essentially the theme for the movie.
I don't know why it didn't get carried over, other than just licensing or something, probably. And the same thing with the Hungry Heifer. Like there's some versions of the LPs that have the Hungry Heifer song on it from back in the day, but it's never been carried over. In fact, I talked to Nick Garris about it, the director. I sent him a picture of the CD. I'm like, I got this, but the Hungry Heifer song isn't on there. He's like, what? It's supposed to be, because his wife wrote and sang that.
He wants that. He wants that dollar from the residuals.
At the Hungry
I was gonna say,
Heifer.
as you showed Johnny Steele's face there and the camera issues.
The question is, how come I can see Meth and not everybody else? Well, I don't. First of all, there's Tom.
There's Tom.
Here you go. But I'm smoking,
his-
so I shouldn't do that on screen. But
No, it's fine.
well, there
Tom-
my picture works
There we go.
finally. There we go.
There you go.
The whole point is I don't force anybody to be on camera. It's up to the people who are guests on the show, and of course, all my feelings. If he wants to be on camera, he can be on camera.
Well, actually, I've been having camera issues, but also I think it's a little bit spookier this way because I'm a ghost.
Fine. If we stop for some questions, I want to thank everybody here. Metastep,
Looks like the chat's piping
Thomas
in.
and Shawnee Step, Fanboy Hex, Becky, and Eric K. Thank you for joining us for this lovely evening. Yes, I am safe. Yes, there's bombs all around me, but we'll enjoy this show. So
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to talk to you about that before the show. Yeah.
Oh,
we'll get enough time after
get
the
to
show.
that.
We'll just have some fun now. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you,
Right-
brother.
right before that, I wanted to bring up the scenes where he is actually doing the transformation into Johnny, the way that they
Sure.
did
Yeah.
the melting scene, because it's
That's
really
really
cool the way
cool.
they did it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I wanted
they
to ask,
Just old school effects, really.
I was
Yeah,
going
so-
to ask you about that because when I watched it, I think this is YouTube safe. Yeah.
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 So what they did was they actually did the modeled head of Terrence Mann's head, essentially.
Oh,
They
this is
changed the space features.
is actually a cast of his head.
Yeah, the outer layer is.
Yeah.
And then they built the mold then around it, and all they did was they put heaters on it and let it melt.
So
Mhm.
they did
Reverse.
exactly sort of the same technique as they did in like Raiders of the Lost Ark. But in
Yeah,
Raiders,
and then they all they did was they had it melt and then they
reversed
ran
it.
it back in reverse. That
Yeah.
was it.
Yep.
It kind of looked like that, but I wanted to be sure. Okay.
Well, it's kind of the same thing what they did at the very end. It's not really a spoiler because you've seen the movie already. But the house when they rebuilt it, they had a miniature house that was built off of rubber banding.
Yeah.
And
but
Tom, you know about that, and they basically were able to pull it back together and
yeah,
let it go up.
you
Yeah,
can, if you slow it down to like a quarter speed of the movie, you can see the strings because they didn't brush them out.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Well, they didn't have that technology back
Technology
then.
then.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's 86, but it's just funny because when you just watch it, it just rematerializes. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is like physical effects and all that stuff. But if you slow it down, it's like, oh, I can see the seams. But you wouldn't do that. And plus, it's such a sort of a heartwarming moment where the family helped the bounty hunters get the Krites. So they gave them a little bit of a break.
Well, the whole ending was reshot.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about what the original
Yeah,
ending was.
I figured
actually,
you were saving that. Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause,
we'll talk about it.
we
when
talk
we get
about
to
that
it.
also with Robert Shea as well, and it was funny because that was buried on the DVD for years, and most people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
It was in a special, like you had to light up the critter's eyes, and you hit it, and you got the alternate ending that way, which is kind of weird. For years, people didn't even know it was on there. It was an Easter egg that was buried, or maybe like 6-7 months. I think we found it pretty quick, but
All right, let's talk about the
blowing up the
Star
Battlestar
Wars
Galactica ship.
tie-in for this
Or is it a
movie.
Star Wars? I can't tell.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a Y wing, and
It's a Y-wing.
what's so great is because they just painted it. They spray painted it silver.
Okay,
they're
that's
like,
why I thought
oh,
it was
yeah.
Star. Yeah.
It'll get past George Lucas. Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And what's
And,
interesting too is the fact that are we sure that somewhere Brad Brown's on some kind of terrorist watch list, right?
Really?
He's a typical farm kid. That's what I loved about this is I knew these guys, right? I grew up with these guys. I was one of these guys where we were always fucking around with fireworks and shit.
Well, yeah.
And
At the
firecrackers.
end, he makes an IED. I mean, it blows up a spaceship for Christ's sake.
Well,
You can tie in
A little
Brad. You can tie in Brad to fucking Beavis and Butthead and them trying to get M80s to light up a fucking cat.
no, but I'm not kidding. I knew these guys growing up. Like
Oh,
they were
yeah.
doing everything that Brad does. Like they were building their own M80s and stuff like that. And they were literally cutting down quarter sticks of dynamite and crap like that and getting yelled at by their dads and fucking around with a hot glue gun and doing all kinds of goofy shit just like he is in his room. Like that is the quintessential 80s farm kid right there. You've got it right there. Bradley Brown, whoever, like Stephen and Dominic must have knew these guys because or grew up in that kind of a situation because you can tell. And I grew up in it may not have been Kansas, it was Wisconsin, but it was the same shit. right? Like these kids were the first ones to get a BB gun when they were 3. You know, like
When I was about 12, 13 years old, I lived in a smaller city, and the fireworks guy was available during what we have a version of Halloween, but it's in sort of March-ish. So what we did was literally buy firecrackers, take off some of them were like in a like a little box. What we did was open up all the boxes and just chain them together to make like a chain explosion. However, it sometimes got lit all together. And then so we lit it and we ran away, and then we got shouted out by the neighbors because technically it's a city and it's a dense population. And sometimes there's some older folks around while you light the fuse. So it was pretty bad. We did exactly that kind of outlandish shit. No, when I went to the army and became an actual demolition guy, looking back, it wasn't that safe. At the time, it was fun. I will never let my kids touch it. Never. But it's not the only Star Wars tie-in. They took some sound effects.
Yes.
The laser sound effects were from
the AT-AT, right?
AT-AT and some other thing. I think of one of the tower on the Death Star. Yeah. I don't know how they got it through, because I know George Lucas is pretty adamant and then nobody uses those.
that, or George used other stuff
but
that was already pre-existing and we didn't know about it. That's plausible.
Thanks, Paul. Lighting up for Purim. Exactly. Purim is the Halloween equivalent. So we get introduced. So Miss April gets a boyfriend home. I want to get to a specific spot with Charlie,
because we know who this boyfriend is, right?
Yes, it's
Billy fucking Zane.
Second movie, and he is the most beta of betas.
which is, it's so interesting too, is that Critters was the launching pad for 2 actors' careers as a franchise. Billy Zane and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, Leonardo is in the
technically, yeah.
third.
Even though Leo was already on, I mean, there's a little caveat to that.
Yeah.
He was already on Growing Pains, but yes, technically, Critters 3 was his first movie. Yes.
Yeah. So Charlie.
And what's interesting too is, so how long have they lived in Kansas? We don't know.
Considering the age of the refrigerator and all that stuff, I would assume that Jay probably got it from his family. So his parents probably lived there. So he probably grew up there, I'd imagine. That's just my guess. But you were about to say something.
Because I was thinking that they had just moved there because the Porsche, where Steve is from, it's all New York plates. So did he drive 1,300 miles?
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking. There is a major inconsistency.
Oh, you mean Billy Zane's character? No, I think his family just moved there to like Kansas City or whatever is kind of the whole thing, probably.
Oh, so that like maybe it's just still has the old New York plates?
Yeah, it just has the old plates on it, yeah. But they just wanted that so you can go, oh, because see, he's a big city boy. Yeah.
I guess it was just that always threw me off.
I never questioned that so much. I just figured, yeah, his family just happened to move there to the city, or maybe in town there, which would be weird, but like maybe the city. Because like in the sequel, they talk a little bit more about Kansas City. To where,
that's true.
Clearly, like it's in this world, like they're not too far from it, probably, but yeah.
Regardless, what I was thinking is, I watched at least this part with my wife, and she saw Charlie kind of aim it through, and my wife was like, "Look, he's gonna hit that car rather than the coat." And I was like, "No, I don't think he hits the car."
I think that's what they make you think. That's what's great about this scene is like the way it's set up is you think that's what's gonna happen, right? And then this guy's gonna come over and kick the shit out of Charlie.
Yeah.
No, instead he gets her in the ass.
Yeah.
Yes, and she goes straight for
She goes
for
ballistic because she thinks Brad did it. Yeah.
Which is so great too. Is this is going to be the first time that I sing the praises of the character Brad, because quite frankly, he is the hero of this story.
Well, Scott Grimes was already that's what's funny is he was a pretty established child actor by this point too. People don't
Yeah.
realize how old he really is. At this point, I know he acts like he's 12, 13 years old, but he's really 15 going on 16. That's what's funny is he's almost, I think he's pretty close to the same age as April, but she just seems that much older. But yeah,
I think officially when they shot this, because they shot this back in
late 85.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, they shot it late 85. I think it was
85?
maybe summer 85. Yeah. I have to look for sure, but yeah.
When I looked, I think it's the latter. I think it's the latter half of 84 actually, and he was 14 at the time. So
maybe they started, but because I can't believe it would take him over a year to get the movie out.
But to me, this is a full fucking arsenal. You can do.
That's what I'm saying. This looks like everybody's room I knew in the 80s. That
yeah, you can do some.
My cousins and shit were all into that stuff, blowing shit up.
Yeah, to Eric in chat's point there, the same, just in a different rural area, but it's the same kind of people.
Yep.
And why I said that Billy Zane is a little bit of a not the alpha that you expect from Billy Zane, is literally she puts his hand almost down his pants like Lauren Boebert style, and he jumps. He's like, no, I don't want your dad to catch me.
That's what's funny is she's the aggressor too. Yeah.
Yeah. And in all the situations, like any sexual kind of interactions they have, she is always the aggressor. He's like, well, I don't know if we should do that. If your dad catches me, he's gonna kill me.
Now, another thing here is something that I asked my wife, and you guys can probably tell me. Back in the 80s, there was sort of a custom that there is one earring on one side that tells you I'm straight, and the other earring that says I'm gay. Now, where I grew up, if you had one earring, not two, one earring as a man on the left-hand side, you're a homosexual.
Same here.
Right? So
I always thought it was the other side here.
See, yeah, because I always thought well, Tom, we both grew up in the
Midwest. Yeah, you're right. It was the other way.
I always thought it was the right.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I asked my wife because she was still watching with me at this point. At one point, she's like, "I don't want to see this," and she left. It's like, how do you guys with this? And she's like, and she looked at me funny. It's like, why does it matter? It's like, because he's acting timidly towards the aggressive female. And she's like, nah, she's just a horny teen and he doesn't want to,
and she's a farm girl. She knows how the bacon's made.
He doesn't want his dad to like her dad to catch him.
That's what I love about that conversation that Jay and what's her face has right after she leaves. She's like, did you ever talk to her about the way things
years
are?
ago.
Years ago. Yeah, like Helen knows. She knows. She's like, this chick's ready to hot and trot already. Like, she can tell.
So
like, that boy's gonna get fucked tonight.
D. Williams, not Wallace. Is it Wallace?
It's Wallace.
It says
it is D. Wallace. You're stuck with Billy D. Williams in your head for some reason. I think so. That would be an interesting film if it was Billy D. Williams instead of D. Williams.
Yeah.
So progressive.
I wonder what they
use in
their
that.
head.
Oh, yeah, years ago.
Years ago, I taught her everything she needed to know. Colt 45 works every time.
Every time.
All right, cool. So Scott gets technically grounded, but he finds ways to escape the prison of his room.
Which is what I found is funny. As growing up for a short while on a farm myself, I was like, getting grounded on a farm is the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah. And
What do you?
there's a point where Jay kind of looks out because they hear the spaceship coming in, and Brad is literally on the
tree
as the dad kind of looks and puts. Well, how many times
feel the
have you
earthquake?
done this before?
Oh, you
My
do
favorite
get to
line
see,
though is when he goes,
yeah,
this earthquake blew me straight out of my window.
yeah. Well, also, I think my other favorite line has to be with April and Steve, where she goes, "I can feel the earth move," and he goes, "Already."
Already? Oh shit.
And poor Charlie is in the middle of nowhere on the way to town, drinking his scotch or whatever, and this spaceship hovers above him fully with sound and everything, and he's like spilling his whiskey. It's like, I knew it.
Knew it.
They're coming. And he goes straight back to inform the cops.
Fucking knew it.
Oh!
That's what Charlie was thinking at that point.
Exactly. So, this, I love it. Neelix. Yeah, I call him Neelix. I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays Neelix on Star Trek Voyager.
The sexual, this is your
the sexual creepiness of this guy.
yeah, he's like
is
harassment.
Jeff
That's the word I was
Barnes,
looking for.
yeah.
The sexual harassment of Sally constantly.
Yeah.
Like, what are you wearing? Pickup liver? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell, dude? I love it when he gets fucking when the sheriff busts him in the beginning part there we were listening.
Yeah,
we weren't listening.
Yeah.
He didn't know he was listening in. Yeah.
But Sally don't take no shit. He's like, I told you, it's done. It's over. You give it a rest. And he's like, so yeah, I'll be there shortly. Blah 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 blah. All right, cool. We're gonna make a stop here. Otherwise, we're gonna go all over the place. We're gonna play our first game of the night. It is Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee for the uninitiated is where we take 10 posters of movies, we display them, and our guests will have to guess which movie this is.
And Tom, you and I will be quiet. It's Devil's
I was just gonna
time.
say I'll be quiet. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll be run over here.
Okay, so I've prepared this special Halloween version with tougher posters. All of them are from horror films, but these are not your typical variety. Well, some of them are, because I couldn't find really good ones. So I will display them, and here we go. Chat participation, if you can do it.
Oh, that was it's not. Is it Living Dead?
Living Dead is in the title.
Night of the Living Dead?
No, not Light of the Living Dead.
Oh, what is it?
Send more paramedics.
Oh god. I can't remember the first part. I just remember the Living Dead spray.
I'll give him a hint. They're back.
Return of the Living Dead.
There you go.
There you go. Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, correct.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which one?
One. Yeah.
Chat, you're more than welcome to join in. I know it's a 20-second.
I'm gonna almost have to guess on this one, actually, to be honest with you.
Yes, I'm thinking with the way that it's with just the image itself, it's got to be one of the newer ones. So
It's one of the newer ones.
I think it's 3D. Is it 3D?
It is correct. 3D.
Yes.
Annabelle.
Not Annabelle.
Creation, though, isn't it?
Not Creation.
Or the newer one, isn't it?
Origins? Is that what it's called?
I will mention a little bit. Not Origins.
Oh.
Or was this the film that spawned Annabelle?
No idea. To be perfectly, I know the name of the movie. It's on my list for this month.
Well, then it's one of the Conjuring ones, isn't it?
It is one of the Conjuring ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is The Conjuring.
Yeah.
The first original.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, this is an easy one, Devil. Get it.
The Thing.
The Thing.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
This is another Living Dead, right?
No.
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 Although though two of those words might be.
Stop.
Oh, I
Devin,
cannot
come on.
remember. I know the picture. I cannot remember the name though. Oh,
I'll give you a hint. It is not from that movie,
Groovy.
but in other sequels, this is my boomstick.
Stick. Yeah.
oh, Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
Correct.
Yes. Frighteners.
Frighteners.
Oh, I love that one.
That's good.
Oh,
Frightening.
that no,
No.
it's tricky.
Sorry, Devil.
Say it again.
Fright
Then
Night.
add this. Add that.
Oh, Fright Night 2.
There you go.
Fright Night.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Same thing as the last
third
one.
right?
Which, yeah.
Oh, 2?
Yeah.
No. Add the 2.
2? Halloween 2?
No,
Yeah. That's Halloween 2.
that's Halloween 3.
That
I
is
was gonna
not
say,
Halloween
That's the
3.
Season of the Witch.
That is not Season of the Witch, motherfucker. I'll tell you that right now.
My file
prove
says
it.
3. You're saying 2? Okay, I'll
I gotta say, yeah,
Halloween 2. I'll even
Hellraiser.
prove it to you.
Hellraiser. Which one?
Isn't that the third?
That's
That is not the third.
2, I think, actually.
It
Is
is
it 2?
the second one. Yes.
There, see, Halloween
Halloween
2.
Yeah.
Oh, see, well, I was misled.
Wait, was it
Halloween
the
3 has a
actually,
very distinct poster. Yes, as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
To be fair, you have to get the full title too. It's Hellraiser 2.
Oh, I can't remember.
Hellbound.
Hellraiser 2.
It's
No,
Hell
I
on
haven't.
Earth.
Hell on Earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's 3. Hellbound is 2. You
Oh, that's
guys,
2?
I tell you. Yes.
This is my problem. Yeah, for sure.
You need me as a producer for.
Well, when it comes to those things, maybe yes, but yeah, for sure. And mine was marked as Halloween 3.
Oh no, I can't do the technical crap. Don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
That's on you all.
Well, to be fair, we all were like, "There's no fucking way that's Halloween 3. That's not
To be
Season of the
fair,
Witch."
It's actually almost like the Rambo thing because Hellbound is, and people forget, is actually the
That's
title.
yeah, that's right. Hellbound.
So it's like
Hellraiser,
Rambo, where Hellraiser, and then Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Yeah.
Oh,
see.
nice. That to me, my when I
Yeah. Yes,
well,
Eric K.
I-
Student Bodies is actually underrated. That's a really fun movie.
we
And I love how
I
Eric
have like
K's backing up my
500
kid thing.
Yeah, I have like 500 of these posters already downloaded from this site, and the site has about 1,200. And a few months back, it just went full on 404 error,
Oh
and I can't
no.
really get all the other stuff. So most
I
of the
got Drew
horror
Struzan's book.
stuff
Did he do a
is
digital
downloaded.
version of it yet?
Hmm?
I know Drew Struzan just put out a book. Did he do a digital version of it yet? Because he has a bunch of them in there without the titles on them.
It's really
Of course, they're
hard to
probably ones you already have, to be honest with you. But yeah,
Well, I do have a lot, but the horror films one really didn't download because most of them I actually did have from before.
that
But
sucks.
I wanted to have the weirder ones. I have the regular Hellraiser. I have the regular Halloween.
Yeah.
I wanted the sequels that I really didn't have.
Yeah, there's another site. I'm trying to remember. Internet Movie Posters, I think it used to be called. I see a lot of those were just whatever variants they had, but very, very rarely would they have a clean version on there. That's the problem with that.
Yeah, I found like a great Critters 2. It doesn't say Critters, but it has a critter and he hugs the number 2.
That's the okay. So that's the teaser original poster. Yep.
Yeah, that's like okay, I guess, but I can't pick that
The
up.
better one is the ball. Like everybody loves the ball. That is one of the toughest posters to get your hands on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with no text. It's the tricky is to get the no text one, which is very
Right.
hard to get.
Well, I wonder if you could use like one of the like Paint Shop Pros anymore to do something like that. Maybe.
I tried it and I'm pretty
work?
good at like deleting stuff, but
I
let's just say
Yeah.
this. I had a great poster of Teen
Mhm.
Wolf, but the problem is Michael J. Fox does like this, and it says Teen Wolf.
Teen
on
Wolf right on his
It's
shirt.
like, oh fuck.
White it
Well,
out.
to be fair, Meth, there have been ones where you deleted the title, but the title was actually just hidden right in.
Yes, I know.
On the
I
poster.
think the
There was one of the Grand Budapest Hotel was one, and there were
yes,
two
and
other ones that were like
the
that.
the one with Stephen King. fucking the one with the murder, not the murderer, the
Misery.
Misery. Misery
Yeah.
is literally, if you zoom in,
Oh, that's right. It does say, actually, it says misery. Yeah,
Misery
yeah.
is as a
What were
part
you
of
going to say, Devil?
My local video store when I was a kid would sell all the posters, the promotional posters, after it'd been out for a little bit. So I literally had a roll. It must have been about 30, maybe 35 original posters from all these 80s movies.
Nice.
And my dad had
That's nice.
he stored a milk crate with a bunch of oil in it. And
Ooh.
one of them fell over, poured all
Oh,
over
no.
the tube, and got inside and ruined every single one of those posters. I was so
Damn.
pissed.
Yeah, that's why fucking
That reminds me, I used to have, when I worked at Movie Gallery, I had, and this is when the Marvel movies first started coming out, I had a full-size standee of Iron Man. I had this huge Hulk
Oh,
standee thing, something for the Indiana Jones. My parents threw them out. I'm like, do you realize how much money I could have made on those off the internet, man?
man.
Yep, that's Ethan Phillips.
Yep. So
Plays GF.
I'm gonna move a little bit ahead because Mr. Phillips is dead. So he gets
Yeah.
gets into an accident because he was still trying to talk to Tally, and a critter just flew by. He swerved the car, landed, got shot with darts, and then dragged underneath the car. And later on, when the bounty hunters come over, that's sort of the first guy they meet, because the other bounty hunter doesn't find somebody that
Lee,
is
yeah.
him. So he
Well,
takes on the
He
role
takes
of,
his appearance.
and this is the only death in the whole movie besides Billy Zane. I mean, there's really, once you get to the second half of the movie, there's not much killing, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny. It's all in the first part. This movie's scary to get through the first half, but then once you get past that, it's hilarious. Like, as a kid, I remember this being terrifying in the first half of the movie. I almost wanted to shut it off because I hadn't quite gotten to that point where I, was ready for something like that. Because that first cop gets killed, it's kind of gruesome, even though you don't see it. And then when they show him after the fact, you're like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
he's
But
tore
they
the
don't actually
fuck
show
up.
him. You see the bounty hunter with the death.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh,
It was like Death Mask, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God.
yeah. I want to discuss a little bit about the bowling shirt.
And then this gets
bowling
a
shirt-
scary scene
the-
here
the-
too, man.
Yeah, the bowling
This
shirt.
was
before
really
it
well
gets
done.
Really scary is at the back. It's
It's
got
Pinbusters.
It's Pinbusters.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
And
logo, yeah.
the color of the shirt was inspired by the color of the shirts that Egon Spangler has in the
animated series. Yep.
Oh yeah. I
And
see
it's
it now.
so deliberate, and I didn't know.
I just figured it was a throwback to the old 50s colors. I didn't think of that, but that's a
Yeah,
good
I thought so
observation.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
one thing I was going to mention real quick, Beth. The first time that Helen sees a critter and how its eyes glow like red, that's
Yes.
reflected that way, because they actually put on the Tom. I know you know this, but the eyes, what they had is they used the same reflective material they have as stop signs in the States. So it's
Yeah,
that
they got it from
reflective-
3M or
so-
whatever it was. Yeah.
So it would just shine. It would shine a light directly on the eye coming out there, so it would reflect that red glow.
So the eyes don't actually glow. They did try somewhere the eyes glowed. It just didn't quite work right. So
It
yeah,
could never work out, especially with the animatronics that were already in there that they were trying to
Yeah.
use to make the mouth move correctly in the kind of like wiggle movement that they have when they actually have.
so it's funny when you see like some behind the scenes images until they did some of the sequels where I think they actually did the light up eyes.
Yeah,
Their eyes are actually white-ish colored. If you see them in some of the behind the scenes things, because then the way they reflected the light on them is when they got that reddish color to them. However, it was the reflection. It was in the material. So, but if you would just photograph it, if you caught it at the right angle, it would just be like a white color, look like a whited out eyeball, basically.
So
I love the porcupines. That was an interesting. Like, this is the
Spines, yeah.
thing about them, and this is what differentiates them from Gremlins, right? Is they are their own unique kind of creature. They're something that's kind of out of this world, but yet you could almost confuse it with like a raccoon or something like that, which is obviously what Jay has done here. Is he just thinks it's like a rat or a raccoon in the basement, and the next thing you know, he gets attacked by it.
I did mention it in my review. I did a review for this. It literally came out as we went live. what I said about when the Kyoto brothers designed this sort of creature, they had it was very sort of practical in the way that they designed it as a ball that they could roll and they can move really really fast from different places. They had sort of both a projectile weapon to subdue their enemies and a primary weapon, which is the bite itself.
The rows of teeth, yeah.
Where you have sort of, okay, we're rolling, getting to our target, shooting it with a dart, disabling it, and just killing it with
And they're all mouth and stomach. So yeah, that's all they do is eat.
And this is actually just kind of a fun side note, because Tom, you're such a horror fan, I know you've seen it, but the production designer behind the TV adaptation of the Langoliers cited critters as his main inspiration of creating the Langoliers.
I did not know that.
Because if you see them, all they are is they're just a ball with teeth.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
So
what they reminded me of, though, when they came out, which was weird, and I can't believe that the Popples company, whoever made them, I can't remember who, didn't go after them.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember those toys? I don't know if Mephisto had them over there, but
no.
They were basically these stuffed animal characters that were kind of goofy looking. I mean, they had similarities to the critters, but they were all like cutesy looking. But the gimmick is they would roll up into a fuzzy ball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as I saw them, and they came out right around the same time, I'm like, wow, I can't believe.
They were pink and blue and like.
Well, yeah. It's obviously not the same, but
you're like, oh, this is completely different. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, clearly. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, because I used to terrorize my little cousins, going, "Oh yeah, those are what Popples grow up to be," something like that. I can't remember what I told them.
Don't pour water on them too, because
if you feed them after midnight, that's what Popples turn into. I can't remember what I told them, but it was just something like that, and they freaked out and got pissed.
So we've got the dad getting munched on, and kind of the family retreats to the sort of the porch.
What in the hell was that? I don't know, but it was meaner than hell.
And then Billy Zane goes out
his
and
fingers munched off.
Change the channel and gets his fingers and the
but what's so great, if you look, you can clearly see that Billy Zane is just holding his two fingers down. He basically is almost giving fucking devil horns. Like Ronnie James Dio over here.
Well, he had fake fingers on. Here's the thing about this. This is the only scene that I can think of offhand, unless something else comes up, that they actually had to trim down to get the PG-13, because PG-13 was still fairly new, and that was the whole goal with this movie from the start, was to make it a little bit creepier version of Gremlins, right? Like, I mean, of course, it was it was written before Gremlins, but by the time they got to the production, they wanted to really take advantage of the PG-13 rating. So they had to cut out, I think, 4 or 5 frames of the fingers being bitten off. So he actually had a prosthetic on his hand when he went up there, and then the critter just bit down, and you see the 2 fingers fall off, I guess, in the original shot. But it's cut to where you just see the critter pop up, and then they trim out like a few seconds in between there, and you just see the reaction. You can kind of notice the jump cut, like you said, if you slow it down. And then there's another shot of him when he jumps up, and I think there was another part that got cut. I don't remember if Bob told me about this or if they talked about it in the making of, but there was actually a shot of the critter eating Billy Zane's guts.
Eating him out.
Slurping up almost like spaghetti and shit. They're like, no, that's got to go.
The Kyoto brothers actually in one of the documentaries actually wrote like, oh, well, we actually had a full 20-minute segment of just the fake Billy Zane torso of Steve getting munched on by one of the animatronics.
Well, because they shot a lot of the second unit stuff too. That was the other thing. So like when the other guys would be done with principal stuff, then the Kyoto crew would come in and shoot all the critter side of everything, basically.
Oh, we're going to talk about the second unit director later, about what mistake he almost made.
Right. So Brad to the rescue comes in, shoots a firecracker
eats it
at the thing, and he eats it and gives a little burp and kind of falls.
And this is the audience's first like sense of like relief since the April scene in the beginning when she got popped in the ass, right? Like, because from then on to this, like, it is almost relentless horror. And then you get to this scene where the little critter, and you're expecting him to blow up, and he's just like,
He just kind of like he almost like burps and then just falls over.
You don't want to know what that was for, is because they're like, they wanted to blow one up. And the Kyotos are like, you're not fucking blowing one of these up. Do you know how much these cost? Like,
we're gonna get to how much they cost later. Yeah, but what's great too is the puppeteers. The way they had to do that is they actually had to have them underneath the hay bale to operate it, so the eyes would move, and then they would have the like little basically the mouth stomach, because it's all just one big thing for the critters, to have it operate a little bit until they basically then just cut the power to it so that it would fall over.
Yeah, it literally looked like somebody just was puppeteering it and then just
what man, yeah.
And I don't know if it's in the thing you were talking about or not, Al, but was it the Kyotos talking about it there or somewhere else where they talked about basically like, yeah, they compromised with that whole thing because they're like, yeah, we're not going to blow it up. Because then the studio said, no way, because of how much they were or whatever. So they compromised with the little smoke thing. Yeah.
So our boys in blue, or not really, drove backwards into the fucking church entrance. And all they did was one of the guys just took on the face of the minister, and they just left because they couldn't find what they were looking for.
You have to really enjoy this movie for how fucking wacky it is, because at the beginning when the reverend's speaking about, it's like, and as you know, we're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, and the old lady just giggles.
I was like,
this is the naughty part of the Bible.
That made me laugh. It's a scene afterwards. I think it's after the bar scene, where the sheriff comes into the church, and the church lady, the black church lady, the old one, was like, they were dressing like they were from Los Angeles. I was like, oh my God.
I also love it when Sally's trying to call Harv, and she's like, Jeff and the preacher and some guy just blew up the Bolorama.
They shot up the bar. What's great too is the way that they shot the end there, when right before he blows up the piano, when he takes on the face of the reverend, the deliberate horror piano sting that's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
And this is what I love about this half of the film, because like I said, we really get it set off into like, okay, we relieve the audience a little bit. Sure, we showed that these, and that was the other thing about the explosion thing I guess I didn't get to, is like, kind of shows you how tough these little bastards are. Right? Yeah. Like he didn't blow up. He ate it and he died, but it shows you on the outside they're pretty strong probably, yeah.
To me, I was half expecting it to explode, and later on, just reflecting it, I was like, yeah, she shot him with a shotgun and he just completely disintegrated. However, the like M80 was just digested and was killed from within without too much explosion. It was like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't want to blow it up, though. That was the thing.
Yeah. The family starts trying to escape. They take the gun, go to the car. It's like, oh, this car is completely mangled. Completely mangled. So
which shows you how intelligent they are, right? Like, because that's the other thing they kind of show in the beginning of this movie too. Is
they cut the telephone and they cut the electricity to the house.
Yeah, but they also stole that ship, right? They tricked that advanced facility and they got out of there. So like, I mean, they're not stupid.
And when they go out and try to like commandeer the Porsche, all the critters are like circling around them, being balls around them, kind of frightens them, and they just retreat back to the house.
Yes. And for just a second, we talk about the critter balls, because it's so hilarious the way that they did this. So the vast majority of them are basically just either bowling balls or basketballs wrapped in fur. But they did have actually multiple on set that were just basically almost an animatronic in a way that had a gyroscope inside of it, so it could actually
kind of an early version
corners.
of BB-8. Yeah. So kind of think about how BB-8 works. They discovered this, and I can't remember how they said it in the making of, but they picked it up from some kid in college or something like. But they found this thing. It was like this circular thing, and they're like, we can use that. And that's exactly what All My Feelings is talking about, so they could bank corners and stuff. You really see it in the second film. They maximize
Yeah.
the use out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But what D. Wallace said in one of the documentaries about the film, it was really hard to kind of keep the momentum during a scene because we'd be getting through this horror, like we're trying to get in the mood where we're in horror and shock, and someone would just say, "Hey guys, roll them in," and they just throw these fur-covered bowling balls at them.
Well, and a lot of this stuff, like I said, it was done second unit. Like right here, like they're reacting to something they didn't even see. For instance, like this was all shot.
Yeah,
You know, and
this is entirely. It looks like a small little studio, animatronics, everything.
that's a
And
hero puppet.
especially
Yeah.
the dad kind of shooting at basically the camera, like Alec Baldwin style. You know, sorry, too
But
touchy.
isn't this the setup here for the joke?
It is the setup, but
Yeah.
it sort of goes back and forth as they advance.
Trying to remember if that was later or if that was a
No,
scene
they
here.
kind of advance into the house, and the dad
Okay, so that's the next one. Yeah.
goes for the shot, and there's one critter just falls exactly on the same place where the first one hit him on the kind of shoulder. So he
Yeah,
falls.
yeah.
They shake him around
When they
and
get
the
locked
other is
out.
like-
Yeah.
She kicks one of them with the
Full
with the
disclosure, I haven't watched this movie in a
fire.
couple of years, but
Yeah, she doesn't actually fire. And when she tries, it's like, oh, this is empty. This is empty. Because you already see the dad take 2 shots already during this whole chase scene. And what Brad does, because the door, when they left, you see it's a small little snippet where they left towards the truck. The door kind of shut with the 2 bolts on the floor and on the headrest. So Brad had to go around to the back door, get into the back door, and open the door from the inside, and they just spilled in.
Look at another case of Brad being the hero.
Yes,
Again.
another case of
And
Brad
what's
being the
so great about this film is how just again, it's a silly, stupid horror film, but this has some of the best continuity in a story. like they actually realize, oh, they ran out of ammo. Oh, we previously had locked this before, so you can't go in that way.
okay, here was the shot I was talking. Okay, so yeah, this is one we were talking about before.
Yeah,
like-
fanboy, this is the scene. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the scene that everybody loves.
Checked with the YouTube gods. This is without sound. I will play this. This is less than 7 seconds, so we're good. We're good. Oh well, okay. Fucking.
Might want to have the scene up.
And then and they run away. So that's basically it. And before she puts out the gun, it was like, oh, they have weapon. They have weapons.
They have weapons. So what?
Well, and I think that goes to show, like we were saying before, like they are tougher than we normally see, but maybe at point blank with a shotgun like that, it's probably similar to the blast that what those guys give them. I imagine.
Which, oddly enough, a shotgun is what the bounty hunter weapons were actually based off of.
Yeah.
They used that. In fact, they didn't actually use actual shot because it would blow up the prop, but they did use smaller rounds, which
smaller charges.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the toilet scene because oh boy, real bad.
We're getting there. Anyway, I stopped at this particular part, not the actual bar where they just hit up the bar and then one of the other alien, we'll call him Lai, changes into Charlie. And
that's Ugg. Yes.
This one is Ugg, right?
Ugg, yeah.
Yes.
The other one changes to Charlie at the bar at the bowling the Bowlerama.
Bowlerama.
See, this is what gave me the big Terminator vibes. Was the bounty hunters at the bar?
Yeah, but first he just throws it, not rolls it. He just throws the bowling ball and just it explodes the pins. I was like, okay.
One of the other guys at the back is about the bowling league. Like, oh man, I wonder what team he's on.
Yeah. And of course, once they change into Charlie, they go this. He just fucking annihilates the TV for some reason.
I just looked at the original script. They are called Ugg and Lee in the original script.
Okay.
So in the
Yep.
script, but the credits, I don't think they're credited
Yeah,
as.
No, I don't
changed
think they're
that.
credited that way. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at the original
talk about-
screenplay by Dominic Muir and Stephen Herek. Draft
Okay.
revised July 21st, 85. Originally 2685. Registered with the WGA. Close in on 2 pairs of feet running through terrain that has been burnt by fire. That is raining heavily. Their feet slosh. Their legs, blah, blah, blah. 2 aliens dressed, blah, 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 blah. Breathing heavy. Ugg and Lee. There
Okay,
you
so
go.
they do have at least their names in the script, but not
Yep.
not in the credits.
Yeah,
Got
'cause
it.
mine-
So yeah, they were always called Ugg and Lee. I was just always curious about that myself. I've never actually read this. This starts out way different. Holy shit! I think I'm gonna read this sometime. A little different. Yeah.
Yes, Nick.
Yeah, Nick, get it?
Ugly.
Ugly. Ha, ha, ha.
Very
This intro sounds like what they did for the beginning of part 2 more so. Kind of.
Maybe what they did was to put it.
It sounds
in.
like we start on a scene with the
Are
bounty
you
hunters
sure?
off on a different deal.
Yeah, are you sure it's the original 1986
Yeah,
script?
it is. It says revised draft 26 June
I was
85 and then
sure I
revised again July
Yeah, 'cause
21st
I was sure I
85.
had the Halloween poster from Halloween 3. And
No, I'm 100% positive. I'm looking at it. Because then it gets to the scene where okay, so yeah, about scene 3 is where the movie starts. So they cut out the first 2 scenes. So the original script did start much like the sequel did actually, with the bounty hunters already on a case somewhere else.
maybe they just said, well, we cut this from the movie.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Whatever, and just transferred it to the new one when they made the new one, which is not unheard of. Apparently, after we saw Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that's definitely not unheard of.
Xanti is the name of that main alien, by the way.
The warden.
Yep.
Okay. So, as the family kind of, hugs it out while we have a few Bolorama scenes, they wake up the sheriff. It's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, some dudes shot up the Bolorama. And he was like, fine, I'll check it. Then he gets to the church and talks to the church people as well. Right. Let me get.
Yeah, because here you go. This is where
the house.
so fuel is not their concern.
The
and all that
family
stuff,
kind of
so yeah.
retreats towards Brad's room as the house gets demolished by these by the critters. I want to get to the ET point.
Well, this is the
Yeah.
little critters party, and then also with Brad in that one segment where he ends up taking out one of the critters by knocking down a fan. So again, continuity wise, story wise, they kind of get their continuity right, but how hard these things are to kill kind of gets thrown about because the fan just falls on one of them and kills it.
Yeah. Let me get to
That's true.
This is the point.
He's a little one though.
Who are you? Yeah.
And to me, it's such a comedy moment, kind of a comedy pause during a time where they're literally on the chase to kill this family and to eat them. And
Yeah.
like we're pausing to do a critter style pillow fight because they go ham on that pillow, and this critter goes into this
The one's eating the fish out of the tank, and
yeah, the one that's eating the fish out of the tank, and the one guy like clearing out one of the side dressers or something, and this guy's trying to
talk to ET.
find love on the planet. I don't know.
I never even noticed the Bugs Bunny back there, but yeah, like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because you're right because they do well pacing in this movie. You get like the openings, you get the excitement of the critters escaping, then you go to the Norman Rockwell painting for a bit. Then it starts getting scary for a while. Then you start to get a little levity again. Then it starts to get scary again, and it starts to give you a little bit of fun. So it knows how to give and take when it with the the scary stuff and the comedy.
And to me, this was that moment of sort of during the chase. We have some sort of a relief. It's the same thing we talked about it last year with you, Tom. Is the Gremlins just going to the movie theater and watching Snow White and singing "Hi Ho" during
Yep.
this full blown invasion in the middle of in the middle of this town.
What's one thing too is the feather scene was apparently a giant problem
Really?
because they had used one of the animatronic ones.
Oh yeah, I got in the gears.
in there, so it got in the gears, and so whenever it would actually go in there, it would actually poof out feathers.
Which is too bad they probably didn't get some good takes of it because they probably could have kept that as an ongoing joke.
Well, they could have actually had that cut in and then use that for the scene where the critter is outside in the chicken coop where he's starting to grow. Have him just
there you go.
feathers, yeah. The other thing
Got a
too
taste
is
for him.
And did we not mention Brad being the hero? And
Hero, yeah,
he's the one
again.
that's going outside, and the dad stays to defend the family.
Well, because Jay finally was like, "No, son, I can't have you risk your life anymore." And then he's like, "Okay, you can go."
Yeah, it's like Brad is like, "Dad, you can't walk, so I have to go."
The other thing too is,
boy,
what I did want to mention is, Tom, you brought this up, how they didn't want to blow up one of the critters. One of the second unit director, during the scene where they light one of the critters on fire, they wanted to set one of the $10,000 fully animatronic ones on fire.
That's the thing. Okay, let's be clear. Like, it's not like the Kyotos were worried about. Okay, they have certain levels of critters, right? You have your hand puppet critters, you have your stunt critters. Those would be the ones where they're just like, like basic little, like what you would buy at a store, where like when you buy a stuffed animal. So like they probably wouldn't mind blowing one of those up. But you're talking like exactly that's what All My Feelings was talking about. Like during the scene with the this and with the firecracker, they wanted to blow up or burn one of the expensive ones. Like, do you realize these are the expensive hero ones, right? Like we're talking 10, 15 grand. This is how much these cost. And that was actually pretty cheap for one of those. Because for instance, I think the Hero Gremlin one, I think was in the $30,000 or $40,000 range or more.
Well, yeah, you can stuff a bag of fake blood with some hamburger in it in like a fur ball and shoot it with a gun, no problem. But yeah, you blow up a mechanical thing like that, that's money.
Out the window, yeah. Because those armatures and stuff always get reused. They may not use the same skins for everything, but Kyoto's especially, like you'll learn if you've ever seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I know you guys were talking about it. If you watch Ernest Scared Stupid right after it, I'm sure you guys
we talked about that. Yeah,
they used all that same stuff afterwards because that shit ain't cheap, right? They just repurposed the rubber stuff on the outside. Yeah,
the little micro gears and stuff. Yeah.
The problem is that the foam rubber that they use, I think we mentioned it before, after a while it kind of got dissolved. I don't know. It starts to
deteriorate. Yeah, they moved over to a silicone in the 90s. So those have lasted a lot longer. But yeah, like in the throughout the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, they used this styrofoam latex basically, and it would just fall apart. Like that's why in the Ninja Turtle movies they had to have like 36 suits for each one of the stunt men and a couple of different heads because just from the sweat and everything over time, they would start to fall apart while they were making them.
And that's why, like, if you look
years
at
later,
any of the photos of the old prop, like actual costumes from Ninja Turtles, look like goddamn scenes from a horror film. They are terrifying because they completely fallen apart.
And it's the same thing with the critters and the gremlins and all those things. Like you can find a few, but that's just because the Kyotos have gone to the extreme to preserve them and such. But they're tough to find anymore. Like a lot of them have been sold off now that weren't even worth a crap. Like I know some guy bought one of the original Gizmo deals and he's got to restore the whole thing basically. Because all it is really anymore is just an armature with like this shriveled mess on the outside.
You know what's weird? When we did the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy show, one of the things that came up, and I didn't know about this, all the Vogons were real puppets that they made. I thought it was some sort of a combination of CGI and puppetry. And despite the fact that it's from 2010, all of the Vogons were completely disintegrated after 1 year. So completely gone. They couldn't even sell it to like somebody to restore it because the foam that they used was just so cheap because they had to make so many of them. They just got destroyed and they get chucked in the bin. Anyway, so Brad gets the two shape-shifting bounty hunters. They get to the home. The sheriff gets there as well. And as the bounty hunters come in, they're like blasting through the doors.
Yeah.
And like, all right, let's roll. And I was like, Autobots, roll out. And they just roll.
That's our cue.
Yeah, Meth. And one thing I was going to mention. Oh, side note to Fanboy Hex mentioned, like, notice that one of the critters got huge. This is the only time that's brought up in continuity from that I know in all of the Critters films. They do form up in different ball shapes later in multiple ones, but no one actually gets big from what I can recall.
They have various sizes, but yeah, it's just implied that the more they eat, the bigger they get.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what it's always implied. They never really played it up any more than they did here, and I could see why, considering what little they show you of this costume. If, like I said, you can watch the documentary we did in the interview with Bob Shea, and you can see how bad that costume looks.
Terrible. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this particular shot was scrutinized and probably is in all the, I've seen at least 4 different videos on YouTube. I haven't clicked on them, but a comparison between Gremlins and Critters. And I'm pretty sure this particular shot was compared over and over again on how and why, and because it's grabbing the sister and all that stuff. Might be contentious, but this was supposed to be the big one trying to muscle his way in.
Yeah.
As they run away, and suddenly the bounty hunters come in and just shoot up the place.
Well, and also if you notice too that the suit got torn during that shot.
Yes.
And they actually didn't have a replacement fake arm to make, so they just went, keep it.
Yeah, I got a picture of it on my old computer. I'm trying to see if the IMDb has it here so you guys can see it.
But Beth, this is kind of a callback to our own podcast lore.
Oh, here it is.
Brad tries to go back not only to save April, but also to save Chewie. Goddamn cats!
Because in that scene, I was going to say, I think that arm is just somebody with their arm through the thing, and it's just a fake.
Yeah,
thing.
that's all it was. Yeah.
Here's what the actual big costume looked like, because it just had little arms. Yeah. So they cheated that shit.
Yeah.
Look how bad that looks.
It looks terrible.
This shot is quintessential 80s to me.
It is, isn't it?
A real monster. And you sell the monster. You got like a
just
girl.
Just stick a good looking chick next to it.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, to be fair, I think that lady's hair might be bigger than one of the critters.
It is. Well, more animals and plants have died because of the aerosol.
Yeah. To be fair, I think her hair probably did kill more people.
It did.
In the long run.
I want to get to a specific spot.
But the sacrifices we made for Def Leppard, you need to understand.
Of course.
Well, actually, no, just for glam metal to begin with.
Well, that was kind of the joke, but yeah.
So what we see before the everything kind of goes into shit during that part where there's the ET and stuff. I think even before, we see the little critter kind of runs away from Brad, if I'm not mistaken. And
he gets set on fire and rolls into the toilet.
No. When he goes into the toilet, is that the fire bit?
Yeah,
that's the fire bit.
Because he's trying to put himself out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's great is this is actually a play off of Ghoulies.
Were they really? I didn't catch it. They ever were trying to comment on it, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, because otherwise, all I know of this is just a little typical little mechanism where
the thing is too is
legs go kick.
I don't know why they bothered, because it happens like you could have put a toupee in the toilet.
Well, it's because he's trying to get away. It's that's all it is, just a hair in the legs, and they're just kicking. Yeah. He's so desperate, he's trying to get away because he knows that the bounty hunter is about to get him.
And of course, it's I think it's Ugg. Yes, it's Ugg.
Ugg.
Kind of like he destroys that toilet. Like
now,
shoots at the toilet. And
now that was a practical effect shot that that they did.
Wait.
Yeah.
When he shoots, there's a shot where you see that Terrence Mann's face, and he goes like this. It's right there. Couldn't you take one step back? It's fine.
Well, actually, no. It was a stuntman who did the shot, and the toilet did blow up, and piece of porcelain flew back
did
and
get
cut
hurt,
his
yeah.
face up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can grab that.
Yeah.
Say a couple of seconds.
I can't believe they wouldn't expect that.
I
mean,
know. This is like there's 4 frames of him just head back. That kind of looks like him. It's literally the only.
Oh, that's him there. But we're talking about the actual shot where it shoots the toilet and blows the toilet up itself.
If I press play, if I unpause it, you'll see that's the only shot. See
that right there. So like, yeah. Okay, go back up. There was like a shot of the toilet literally shooting out of the bathroom. I think that's the scene.
It's safe. So he puts it up. Then there's the thing. He shoots
that guy right there.
The shot that I paused.
So just before.
It's right before. It's
the one. It's the scene where it's away from Terrence Mann.
I can't do this.
We got it. We saw it.
It was difficult to do.
No, it was actually during. Sorry,
if I
during
Premiere Pro, then I would do frame by frame.
Yeah.
On VLC,
Terrence Mann talked about this scene during a documentary about critters, where it's like, yeah, they blew up the toilet right next to Stuntman's face, and it cut him up pretty badly.
Yeah. There's a point where he kind of, after the toilet is broken, it's already Terrence Mann by this point, but he picks up, where he picks up the sort of what's ever left from the critter, sort of like the jaw or whatever, and he just picks it up, and it's like, it's fine, it's done. There's another critter kind of jumps from the bathtub area, kind of puts the curtain away and just jumps across and moves right past all of them, kind of rolls around. Want to get to.
I was gonna say I do really enjoy the scene with Lee, as he has the mask as Charlie, and he has that confrontation with Harv, the sheriff. I'm like, you're interrupting my investigation. He just throws this poor old man out of a window.
That scene is before that. This is after they kind of leave the house and they're sort of content. And of course, April has been abducted by the critters and taken away. They don't know where, but Charlie and Brad are going after them. The bounty hunters are not. I'm losing my voice. Don't pay attention. So the thing is, they just go into the cop car and they just drive away while Charlie and Brad are off to get April. And
again, Brad being the hero of the film. He's like, don't worry about this. I'll go on the alien spacecraft and save my sister.
Of course. All right. Before that sort of the last scene, we're going to stop and do our second game of the night. Let me set this up. Let me do this and that. And of course, this and that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter for the uninitiated is where we take 2 movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other, 2 movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Chat participation is most welcome. And we start off with old horror and new horror. The Birds, 1963, or Evolution, 2001.
I got to go with Birds on this one.
Yeah, me too.
Now, would you say Evolution is really a horror film? It's really more of a comedy.
Yeah, it's more sci-fi
Yeah.
comedy.
I know.
Yeah, but also with the Birds, it's one of Hitchcock's best.
I think
I was gonna say this is not a fair competition for Evolution in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's the only kind of two semi-horror films that went in together.
Well, this is the second film back to back on the right, starring Sean William Scott.
It's true. I've not even seen the rundown, and I'm going to go with that because the Clone
Yeah.
Wars was one of the most depressing things in the theater I ever saw.
And the poster that they used here is actually from the Clone Wars TV series rather than the
Yeah.
actual movie.
Wait, no, this is actually that's the Clone Wars animated film. That's not episode.
That's the animated film?
Yeah, because that's not
They made an
episode 2.
animated
Because
film?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That was so depressing. I went to see the thing in theaters thinking, oh, it's a new Star Wars movie kind of thing, even though it was anime. I knew it was going to be a pilot episode for a TV show.
I've never seen this then.
Yeah.
And here I am sitting in the theater, me and one other sad-looking nerd, and there was like one moment I think where we looked at each other and we knew
Both
we
your
were
hearts broken.
when he like snips and shit. Go ahead, devil.
Devil?
Devil, since you're the meme lord, now I could just hear that overlay going, and this is when they both knew they fucked up.
Which one will you pick?
I'd go the rundown too.
Oh my god, it's full crowd. Holy
Actually,
hell.
the rundown is
Yeah.
actually kind of a fun film.
I hate
Everybody
it.
says it is. I remember it was popular when I was working at the video store. Everybody's always renting it. Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen 24-hour Party.
Neither have I.
It's very
Okay.
reminiscent of Go, if you remember
Oh,
that. film.
jeez. Well, just knock Despicable Me out of this race, why don't you? Because
Yeah.
before that,
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, that's a clear winner. Now you got Beetlejuice. Bah! Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
Beetlejuice.
I'd
Devil?
say the same.
Don't say it again,
Beetlejuice,
Tom.
I already said it
I
3
did.
times.
That's an excellent poster, too.
It is. Speed or Jarhead?
Speed.
definitely.
Devil?
Ooh.
Pop question, hot shot.
Yeah, I'd probably say Speed just because I've seen it so much more. But I did think Jarhead was a decent movie.
Feelings?
Say, well, I think Jarhead's a good film, given the criteria. If I'm going to sit down and just watch a film for fun, I'm going to watch Speed.
I'm gonna watch Speed. Jarhead
This boy
is a
feels the
really
need
good
for
movie.
speed.
I don't know what it is with Jake Gyllenhaal. He always gets a bad rap. He's in really good films that get really bad results at the box office.
Like Nightcrawler. God, Nightcrawler's
Yeah.
a good movie.
Lost World, Jurassic Park, or V for Vendetta.
Oh, V, easy.
I've never seen V, so I'm going to have to go with Lost World, I guess.
Oh, really?
If
Wow.
you
But you know what? It's kind of fitting
You're
because I'm the
in
guy who's always defending that movie too. So
Tom, after the pandemic, or allegedly, you have to watch V. Please, I implore.
I have
you.
the 4K. I just have
From
to
one
do it.
human to the next. It's so goddamn prophetic. It's insane.
Yeah, it's a great film.
And we had Nina on to do the
Yeah, that was a
rundown.
great episode,
That
too,
was
yeah.
great. That was a great show. It was so much fun to get like into the guts of what it means. All right, Bolt or Inside Man. Both.
I don't remember Inside Man. That's the problem. I've seen it.
The
but
best
I
part
can't
about it.
tell you anything about it.
I think the best part about it is Denzel.
I think it might be a good idea to see Pitt haven't seen either because I have not seen Bolt.
I mean, I vaguely remember Bolt, but it was like one of the worst of the Disney films of that time. Yeah.
Devil, do you have
with
any?
my kids? It's pretty awful.
I saw both, but I totally forgot like everything about it because it was
Yeah.
I don't even
forgettable.
remember what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Both
Okay, this is a
completely
better
forgettable.
one.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't. Splash is gonna splash all over AI because fuck AI. I hate that goddamn movie.
Devil?
And Daryl Hannah naked. Come on, of course, Splash.
Splash,
Right?
Yeah. It's Splash, yeah.
I would watch
It's
Splash.
Daryl Hannah at her peak too.
How can
It's
you?
like-
Yeah, how is this a competition at this point? It is-
I would watch Splash. First of all, I hate AI, and I
Who
hate.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Have you met anybody who likes it in your entire life?
No.
I would watch Splash just for the interaction with Eugene Levy and John Candy. They're in
Oh, I do
supporting
like that.
roles.
Yeah.
But they make all the fun stuff. They make all the great comedy in this movie.
I love them in Armed and Dangerous. They were good in
Yes.
that too.
Yeah.
All right. Last one.
Ooh. I've never
Antitrust.
seen Antitrust,
Okay.
but Saturday Night Fever, except for the fact that it's now rated PG, is a classic.
I'll switch
Yeah.
over.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh,
I haven't seen the
yeah.
Virgin Suicides either, but I know this is a better fight here.
All right. I'll keep it at this. The Virgin Suicide, 1999, or Saturday Night Fever, 1977. Chat will decide. Devil?
I'll go Saturday Night Fever.
All right. Cool. Feelings?
Virgin Suicides. It was a prelude to Lost in
knew it.
Translation.
I fucking knew it. I knew you would pick that.
He's always fucking with my hair.
I didn't like Virgin Suicides, and I don't really like Saturday Night Fever. I like songs. Hey, I like the songs. I recently rewatched it a couple years back because it's not one of those films where let's just watch Saturday
I
Night
get
Fever. Okay, the last time I actually saw Saturday Night Fever was when I saw Short Circuit a few months back.
Oh yeah, I love Short
Same director, that's why. Yeah.
But I would pick Saturday Night Fever.
I
Just
try
for the
to work really hard on my hair, and he's always fucking with my hair.
Yeah.
plus,
Attica.
that suit is so iconic. It made it
is.
to one of my favorite games that I was not supposed to play, but I did play as a 10-year-old.
Laser Suit Larry?
Laser Suit Larry game. And I had the cheat codes not to get to the end, but I had the cheat codes to answer the questions, because in order to play the game, you actually had to prove yourself as an 18-year-old. And all the questions were like stuff that was happening in the 70s. It was all questions like who were the Bangles or something like that, or the Bee Gees.
They had the beat.
Yeah.
Bengals?
The
You mean the
Bengals,
Bee
that's
Gees.
the 80s. I mean,
the
Leisure Suit Larry.
I think they were still making spin-offs of Leisure Suit Larry until like the mid 2000s as well, which is
I think
weird.
I think the day Sierra, the game company, went under, I think they were Sierra, then they were Sierra Online or something. As soon as Sierra just went down, all their games, which were kind of the same vein, sort of Day of the Tentacle,
Action adventure, yeah.
that
Well,
sort of thing.
point and click, yeah.
Yeah, the point and click
Adventure
puzzle
games,
games. That's where that sort of
Well,
the whole franchise kind of died.
I gotta ask you though, Mephisto. You said you didn't really care for Saturday Night Fever, but you've seen it at least a couple times. Did you ever see the sequel? Am I the only one here who's ever seen the sequel?
Yes, I've seen it. Please don't remind me of it. It almost
Yeah, if
reminds
you
me
think
like
the first movie's bad. Holy shit!
Sunday Night Hangover.
No,
Yeah, Sunday Night.
Hangover. Yeah. I would say
Staying
Saturday Night Fever
Alive.
2 is
I've seen Staying Alive for sure.
Oh yeah, Sylvester Stallone directed it. Oh my god.
Oh god, that was just like, reminds me of like it's comparing Grease to Grease 2. You're like,
Well, it's kind of
God.
different in that
Also
sense.
watched
I will
Grease
say it's
2.
better than Grease 2, but only marginally because and I'll say this because you got the original star in it, but
yeah,
the thing is it's the same movie, right? Sylvester Stallone remade the same movie, but the difference is the first one was about a guy reaching and grabbing for his dream. This is a movie about a guy who got his dream and realized it fucking sucks.
Now, see, if I want to watch a film in that same vein on the era, kind of, I would rather watch Boogie Nights.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, it's just one of those things where I'll give it that over Grease 2, because Grease 2 has a song about fucking bowling in it. But back to the Bolorama.
Don't remind me. Holy shit.
That's
First
roll
movie
for
has
me.
songs about fast cars and chicks. Second movie, we got bowling, y'all.
And I'll tell you how and why. It's very difficult to explain, sort of like between 13 and 14. Same time of the fireworks as well. I was living in a town. We had a family situation where we were living with another family in this big house. And there was a 12-year-old girl in the other family who, the couple of years that we were living together, she was doing these pajama parties. Those pajama parties went into full on. We're watching Grease, we're watching Saturday Night Fever, we're watching all those films. And I was like, could you give it a rest? There's one TV in the house. What the fuck on a Friday night? I want to all of you 12-year-old sluts and play my fucking console game. God damn
They
it.
clearly
Now,
like
see,
Travolta.
I still had Boogie Nights stuck in my head. So when you said Friday night pajama party, I'm thinking
No,
something
no.
else.
How old are you? How old were you at the time?
First of all, I was what 14. They were 12-ish, as they were
Never mind.
not.
I got a little creepy.
They were not my liking. No, they were definitely
Anyway,
not
back to
my
the
liking.
critters.
Back
Yes.
to critters. And Brad the hero goes into the lion's den, technically.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Is like he is the hero, but he's not the one who has the hero's journey in this movie. It's Charlie.
It's Charlie.
Yep.
It's Charlie. As he literally climbs in, and as he like wakes, he wakes April and takes her away. He it takes out the dart that she was shot with, and he has a full on big fucking dynamite that he built.
He has an IED. The kid made an IED.
Yes,
He's good at what he does. Come on.
essentially, but he drops it. He drops it as he leaves, and Charlie's the one that comes.
Yeah, you overlooked the Molotov cocktail there, yo.
I did.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
I was talking about how my feelings was. Yeah.
Yeah, the Molotov. What's I thought would have been so much better is they kind of play off on again. They kind of give the history of Charlie and the fact that he was supposed to be a baseball pitcher. I thought it would be more apt if he was like maybe scouted by college recruits because he was going to be a great quarterback. For him to make that 1 million in one shot through that little tiny
Well, it
window.
also works as a pitcher too. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
He has the body of a baseball player. That's
That's fair.
Yeah. Sort of Manny Rivera.
But that's a callback to that. That's a great point. Yeah, how he makes the
Totally.
shot because of that. That's kind of the whole.
Because he has like his body took over, like because he knew what he had to do. Yeah.
So he shoots the sort of if we're going into the subtext, he is rehabilitating himself and losing the drink, as we say. He chucking
Literally
the drink away.
using it to save the day.
If
Yeah.
we're going by subtext and actually
That-
meaning and all that stuff, but yeah,
In kind of a way,
the bad habit in order to save the day and also redeem himself from this addiction.
yeah. Well, and also in a way too, this is also the umpteenth time where the film kind of pays an homage to Star Wars.
Yes. How?
The Death Star, the one in a million.
I was
shot.
thinking that, yeah, 1 in a million shot-ish, yeah. But just to be dickheads, the critters blow up the fucking house.
Yeah. Like, and they're laughing at the end too, like, fuck you, we win.
This made me laugh so hard. It was like the one thing that came up in my mind, all my feelings was Tropic Thunder. It was like big ass titty.
Please, yeah.
Sort of
Because it's funny you mentioned that because they kind of had a problem here, and I'm sure that leads you into the alternate ending. But yeah.
We're gonna discuss that.
exactly where I was going to. How did you read my mind?
But when they have the explosion too, is I love the only actual bit of kind of human language that the critters actually speak is when they go, "Uh-oh."
Oh yeah.
right before the IED explodes. So the house explodes once, then it explodes again because the
Yeah.
ship blows up right next to it.
Right after the shot, and when they turn into the second shot, it literally explodes again.
What's greatest too is I'm sure you've seen the documentary about this, Tom. We've discussed it countless times. But the one of the main producers was discussing it with some of the Kyoto brothers on there, and like after the shot, we actually had to call in the local sheriff to tell them that there were no problems there because people were turning off the freeway; they could see it from that
Yeah.
far away.
It was a little bit bigger than they had anticipated. But
Yeah.
like, yeah. Like I said, it's funny you mentioned the Tropic Thunder thing because, like, yeah, they didn't expect it to be that big. But yeah.
They didn't expect it to be that big. I'm aiming for the second explosion because once you literally was like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, I can actually play it because it's 7 seconds. Right, here we go. They explode, and then the house explodes
again.
Because I think that's because they had like, it went up a little bit bigger than they thought too.
A little bit bigger. And of course, Ugg gives Brad his calling card / remote phone. And when they come back in the morning, they literally, the phone kind of rings, and Brad goes, hello.
This is where the movie takes the weirdest turn. And it's kind of I call it the Jaws ending. And you kind of get this feeling from what I talked to Robert Shea about and what you get from the making of was that the test audience loved the movie. They just didn't like the ending. And the only reason they didn't like the ending is because this poor family gets put out of their home and it's just kind of a downer, right? Because they come back and what you see there, it cuts literally from there to them picking up Chewie and leaving. And then it pans over to the barn, and underneath the barn in the chicken coop area is a nest with a couple of critters' eggs in it. So that's the original ending. And it's like, okay, but what about the family? So I guess they got this asinine idea in their heads that they would have the house go back together, and that magic in the remote did it. So what they did is they built a 3/4 scale miniature of the house, and it was built out of this, like, it was collapsible. So it was built out of this like foamish kind of wood kind of stuff. So then they ran it in reverse so it would collapse in on itself, and then in reverse it just looked like it was rebuilding itself. And yeah, it was just this quick ending they reshot, and then they brought everybody back out to shoot a quick thing with a real fake perspective shot so it looked like they're walking back up to the house, and then they pull the cat out of the mailbox, and that's the end. And it's like, okay, yeah. And as a kid, even then, I'm like, that's not how the Force works. Like,
even the cat apparently gets dragged into this whirlwind. The sheriff that brought him there is like, he's just closing out the window. Oh my God, it's going to happen again. So I'm just closing out the window.
Emmett Walsh, who was just
Emmett Walsh, who is fantastic because he plays the comic relief almost as much as Charlie does.
As the house kind of slowly kind of rematerialize as...
See, I believe this would be actually, the whole thing might have been a composite shot at the end. I'm not 100%. I'd have to look it up again.
I think this one is a composite shot, but it's hard to tell with some copies. In the earlier copies, you could have picked it up as a composite shot, but it's sort of, they brushed a lot of it off, changed the colors on the people as well, so they'll match kind of the two sides of the shot.
Yeah.
Wait, hold.
But anyway, they reshot this whole ending, and that's where my confusion in the shooting dates. So you were right, Mephisto. They did shoot this in 84, mostly, up through October. Then they came back in January of 85 to do this bit, is what happened. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they did the egg shot before or after. The
egg shot was done on the principal photography. They didn't have an egg shot. There was a different egg shot for the one that's in the movie now. It's a completely different action. If you haven't seen the original ending, I have it. It's on the Blu-ray and the DVDs. But
Yeah, the original ending is far darker, and again,
yeah, it's just kind of dour.
well, but it actually, it made sense.
Yeah,
But
see, in this version, it's just 3 eggs, and the other one is like a whole bunch of them. It actually
yeah.
matches up better with the other movie.
Mhm.
All right, and
But it's the same thing. It just wiggles, and you hear. Yeah.
No, you hear the laughing, like that critter giggle that
and to
Charlie Burton
me,
was able to pull off so well.
to me,
Sorry, Corey
the
Burton.
no. To me, the whole point of that last shot is sort of either it came from above for them to do this or not, or they always kept it open just in case they'll get re-signed or for a sequel or whatever, because this is already at the point where they kind of knew in certain horror films that you might get a sequel, because Friday got a sequel, Halloween got a sequel.
Oh yeah, well that's the way New Line kind of worked. You always kind of always leave that hook open, and I'm pretty sure this was Bob Shea's call.
I would not be surprised, because Bob Shea was pretty much
the interview,
yeah,
and you can see he kind of said this, and that's kind of what I remember from talking to him. Is he said the audience loved the film, but they didn't like that bit. It was kind of just down and dour at the end, so they just decided at the last minute to reshoot that whole bit there, and that's what the movie became, and it was a hit. So yeah.
No, the whole point of leaving those eggs behind, rather whether they're going to go dark or they're going to go with the what we have now, which is the happy ending for the family, at least to a certain point, is where they got directed by the studio to like, okay, leave this open, or it came from either Dominic Moyer or
I was gonna say, let me look at the original script again here real quick.
You can look. If it's there in the original script, then maybe they already thought about extending it, or that particular scene was there from the studio. It's like, look, we want you to keep it open. We want you to have a hook in case this takes off, so we can literally make another sequel, because you're leaving it with a happy ending, but an open happy ending, sort of like that. And that's kind of the stuff that I can see studio heads saying, oh, you do this because we might be able to do extra with this in case. And if not, you just leave it open, and maybe someday somebody can pick this up. We can, later on down the line, we can sell the rights to whoever wants to pick up this fucking weird movie and do Critters 2, but not with us. But we'll sell them the rights to do it, or the license to do it.
We'll have them do a shitty web series and put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, no, the script ends exactly like the original ending. They just get in the car and drive away after they get the cat. Yeah. And then it pans to the critters. But here's what he's saying. They didn't subtitle it, but here's what would have been the subtitle: "I'm hungry."
Yeah.
It's with sort of the critter lore. Just this movie alone is like, we're gonna eat anything.
There's got to be a bit more to this script, because it's a beefy script. It's 180 some pages. Well, that's a lot.
The movie is 85 minutes.
That's what I mean. So there's got to be some trimming.
There's a lot of it that was trimmed out.
Including credits, it's 85 minutes. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's very short and quick and fast paced. And
to be fair, actually, I'm going through a lot of horror movies. Some of them I've seen, some of them I didn't. These are like snappy movies where the setup is it's like the first hour, and then you got the 30 last minutes with sort of go mentality. And in this one, it's 45 minutes where it's a little bit slow, and there's a death, but it's not speedy. And then the last 40 minutes, it's like you said, it's go time. It's just moving forward, and we have from chase scene to the Bolorama scene, then another chase scene, then another this and another. So there's always action or going forward with some sort of resolution. Right, that's kind of it. Devil, what you think of it on the whole? Give us a smaller.
I liked it. I always liked the. At that time period, a lot of the 80 movies, like you were mentioning earlier, you had Ghoulies, you had Munchies, you had all the little monster ones, Gremlins, Puppet Master, and I love them all. I love that kind of, little creatures
I love
chasing
'em.
you through houses and shit. It's all
I
good.
call them little rubber monster movies is what I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoy those. So this was definitely a good one. Like I said, I've seen it about 3 times altogether. I think I've seen the other ones like once each, but the first one, yeah, I've seen it a couple times, and yeah, I love it.
Completely fits with not only the horror comedy bit, but it kind of fits with Halloween as as you're trying to be not only scary, but you're trying to make some laughs.
Yeah, have
Feelings.
fun.
Yeah. Have fun. Feelings.
Oh, I absolutely adore this film. I think the first time I saw it, I was maybe 4.
Appropriate.
My biological father, when he and I still had a functional relationship, that actually would be a very sad story to tell. But
Being that
but
over this
he
movie
would
and
he
not
would rent
sharing, but okay.
all the kind of like B horror movie schlock and stuff whenever I would spend weekends with him and my stepmom. So I've seen pretty much every kind of weird, odd movie that was a horror film from the mid 80s to the mid 90s. I've seen it at least once. And I would always ask him every single time. This is one of the films that we watched multiple times. Can we watch Critters again? Or can we watch, oh, they made another Critters movie? Oh, we've got to go watch it.
Nice. So Tom, since you've seen this movie countless times,
Multiple times,
the
yes.
franchise multiple times, any extra bit that you think that you can add to this? Because I think one of the things that kind of made this movie for what it is and separate from Gremlins is actually the Kyoto brothers is sort of way of thinking to make the monsters different from
That's a big part of it.
from the Gremlins or from the Ghoulies.
So definitely, I think, well, the Kyoto brothers are somebody who are kind of like some of the unsung kind of folks in Hollywood who've probably worked on many things that you love and you don't realize it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a little bit sadder side to the story, and I would say, and that is that Dominic Muir never really got the attention he probably deserved. In fact, he went later
Yeah.
on to write under the moniker David White, and he wrote a lot of crap movies for straight to video and all this other stuff. So, like, Steven got a little bit better career out of the whole deal, which is kind of sad. That's why I brought up the whole toss of the coin earlier, because that's kind of what it all boiled down to. And it's really sad because the roots of this story were with Dominic. And you could really tell that he loved this movie because there's a really heartbreaking story. It's kind of heartbreaking but funny at the same time because he passed away. I believe it was because of cancer.
Damn.
So he's been gone for quite a while now, and he passed away pretty young. But they were doing a critter event that he was very excited to be a part of, and this was close to before he passed away. And he tried to get a hold of a 35 millimeter print so they could show it at the festival. And the only print that New Line had on hand, still other than the negative, which is in a vault, was this 35 millimeter print. And he started going through it, and he realized none of the critter shots were in the movie. Somebody had gone through and clipped out all of the critter shots, and they couldn't figure out what the hell the deal was. So he was just devastated and heartbroken because they didn't, I think this would have been a time before they even had like HD projectors and stuff like that. So 35 millimeter was the only way they were going to be able to show this to a theater audience in a pristine, decent form. So he was heartbroken. They didn't get to watch it. Fast forward to a couple years later when he passed away. They're going through all of his stuff, and in the back of one of his closets sits a shoebox. And they pull out the shoebox and open it up. And inside is a collection of about 8 or more reels of little film bits. And all they are is the critter shots that were cut out of the movie. So at some point, he was the one who had done it, and he didn't remember it. And he don't remember, and nobody knows why. But it was like this big thing that he wanted to get, and he went through all this trouble to get the print, and the print was this print that he had cut all these critter shots out of for whatever reason. What I can surmise is there was probably like some kind of special effects documentary being made or something like that where they needed some critter shots. So he probably went and clipped them out for them and sent them probably overseas or something like that. Probably wasn't even US related or something, and got them back and just threw them in the back of his closet, forgot about it, and didn't realize that that was the same print that he had clipped those from years before. That's my guess. Or somebody had done it outside of that, handed it to him. He didn't realize what they were, and he put it in the back of his closet. But yeah,
I'll tell you what it was. I think what it was is there was fillings in his teeth, and the aliens were like,
told him to do it. But yeah, so it's kind of a funny story, but like a little sad at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Otherwise, the only other fun thing I could say is find the original Gremlins script, and you'll be oddly surprised at how much the original Gremlins script and Critters 2 have in common.
Yeah.
We might get to that next year. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you, Devil Made Me Do It. Anything you want to plug before we head off?
Yeah, just check out Get Ranked tomorrow. We're doing Mortal Kombat characters, or half of them. There's like 78 or something, so we had to split into 2 lists. And Beelzebub every Saturday morning. But
and Tom, anything you want to plug for you?
I'll be all over the place. I'm sure I'll be on Flashcast later. And if they're still going, I'm supposed to pop over to the Pop Culture Minefield here and talk a little Freddy. So we'll see. I'll be around, I'm sure.
What is the list going on Sunday evening before Culture's show? What list
this week? What are we doing this week? That's a good question. I forgot to check in. I know we had like 1 or 2 left that we wanted to cover before we moved on to our own.
You're still working through those prepaid Screen Rant IGNs.
Yeah, well, there was like 1 or 2 more that we had that we really wanted to do, and I'm trying to remember what they were here.
All I know is last week you guys had some hot takes about candy.
Yeah, this is gonna get fun. I can see it already. Boy, I gotta scroll way back. But there was like because here was one we wanted to do, the 50 worst decisions made in movie history from Rolling Stone. We thought was going to be one we should hit. I think that was the last one I think we're going to do.
All right.
Before we switch over to our own thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fitting end to the whole shebang.
All the work on poor Mr. Toxic Man Flu.
Oh yeah. Well, this time out I didn't even come up with any gimmicks this week. So yes.
Yeah, all right.
If I do anything, it will be last minute on him this time, sadly.
All right. That's it from us. Next week we're going balls to the walls because this is my boomstick. We're going to cover Evil Dead 2 on the show. We're going to be joined by Mr. Matthew Kadish after he finished up his show. So we're going to start off, and he's going to join us as soon as he finished up with the Salty Nerd podcast. And we're just going to have some fun. And that's about it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know how we do it. And check out the month of October on my channel. Every single day, I'm watching a movie and giving you my 4, 5, 6 minute review of it, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, story-wise, all that good stuff, and a little bit of my recommendation, which is sort of binary. I either recommend this or don't recommend this. Most of them I do, even though I'm not really a horror buff. But check those out. They're a lot of fun. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, good night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.